welcome to this week's edition of Part1. I'm Chimede Obi Iwago. Nigeria is the largest producer of cassava in the world. The Food and Agriculture Organization puts the country's production to about 54.8 million tons in 2014. But weed control is one of the major challenges facing improved yields for cassava production in the country. That is why weed control experts in Nigeria have been able to develop a new technology which will help farmers in Nigeria and other African countries deal with weeds on their farmlands. This is our focus on Part1 this week. So stay with us.
Cassava is a staple food widely grown in Nigeria and other tropical and subtropical areas of the world. Africa produces over 54% of the world's cassava, with Nigeria taking the lead globally with a production of about 54.8 million tons in 2014, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. Cassava is said to be rich in carbohydrates, calcium, vitamins, and other essential minerals. The nutrient composition in the tuber differs according to variety and age of the harvested crop, soil conditions, climate, and other environmental factors during cultivation. Cassava is grown in all agroecological zones of Nigeria, but thrives in the rainforest and derived savanna areas. Production is highest in the north-central and south-south regions. The country's average yield is 7.7 million tons per hectare, which is regarded as very low compared to 23.4 million tons and 22.2 million tons average yield per hectare produced in Indonesia and Thailand, the other leading cassava producing countries in the world. Every part of cassava is useful. The leaves are used as vegetable for humans or fodder for animals. The roots yield in Africa and Nigeria in particular is being hindered by several factors, including poor weed control. Weeding takes 50 to 80% of total farm budget. In most communities, women and children hand weed cassava farmland, an activity which is complex and results in backaches. Yield losses of cassava under weed infestation is estimated at between 50 and 90%. Poor weed control and other agronomic constraints impede cassava production and put yield of cassava in Nigeria at about 8 tons per hectare. Weed infestation on cassava farmland, amount 50 to 90%, cassava yield 8 tons per hectare. For the first time in the history of Africa, weed experts from Nigeria, led by Professor Friday Ekeleme, Principal Investigator, Sustainable Weed Management Technologies for Cassava System in Nigeria, and other members of the research team, have developed a new weed control technology for farmers in Nigeria and African countries at large.
Generally, the project is implemented by the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture Ibadan in collaboration with national partners like the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, the National Root Crop Research Institute, Umudike, and then the National ADPs, that is Agricultural Development Programs, as well as other private partners.
We visited a demonstration site in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. started by asking him what weed is all about and the immediate impacts on farm yield.
Weed management is an art where you try to control your weeds so that they don't affect your crops negatively in the sense that they don't reduce your crop yield. It's not only in cassava, it's not only in maize, anything called crop. Even when you're developing oil palm plantation, you need to control weeds.
Yeah.
There are various ways you can control weeds. Naturally, as Africans, we use hoe to weed, but that has a lot of implications, negative implications. Because you bend, you have to develop this back bend. It's expensive and time-consuming. You can have chemical weed control where you use herbicides. You can also have mechanical weed control where you use machines to weed.
On this farmland, weed flower grows very well on this type of soil. This is how farmland looks 4 weeks after planting. After about 1 month, it's time for first weeding. At 3rd month, second weeding is carried out. At 6th month, third weeding is carried out.
Here we are is the stage that is called farmer managed experiment. Now, what is the issue? The issue here is that in Nigeria and Africa largely, weed management has been a challenge in crop farming, particularly in cassava. So scientists are looking for solution on how to remove the drudgery of hand weeding, hoeing, because it's largely responsible why our youths are not interested in agriculture. Once these drudgery are removed and the high-level mechanization introduced in farming, it will be repackaged. So it's a agenda to repackage agriculture, not just to be accepted by the youths, but also to be viable. Okay, that is the situation. Now, the stage the research is on at a farmers managed level.
Increased yield potential of cassava is high under good weed control conditions.
An increase in crop yield. For example, I told you from 10,000 to 25,000 tons per hectare. You know what that will be in terms of monetary value. So the farmer is going to earn a living. He'll be able to send his children to school, and he'll be able to have a decent living. He'll be able to feed himself. So that's the food security we are talking about. He's going to be able to feed himself properly. Doing this research, we are really tapping into government policy, the SDGs that talk about enhanced crop productivity and increased earning for farmers.
If you look at the farm there, this is the normal conventional farm, the situation of farming in Nigeria as at now, where farmers will till their land and plant and do the first and second weeding. They don't have the finances, they don't have the time, and weeds will take over their farm and it will affect their yield. If you look at the last rep there, it's a typical scenario where if you do your land preparation, plant your cassava or your maize. In this case, it is intercropped because an average farmer in Nigeria do intercropping. And you do not control the weeds, it will affect your yield, it will affect your income. So it's to send a message that absentee farming, or people who get to go, oh, go and work in my farm without supervision, without seeing it as business, you will lose your money. So that's a very good case. That's why in every good research you have what is called a controlled experiment. So that's a controlled experiment. Next is this plot that is farmer managed. That is, farmer do it your usual way. However, during the land preparation, agrochemical was sprayed. So what we did was we weed. You can see the weeds. And we have weeded this farm just once. And it is due the second weeding.
Cassava roots are consumed either boiled or processed into products such as flour, gari, fufu, akpu, chips, tapioca, and abacha. Cassava can also be processed into industrial products such as ethanol and starch. A total of 46 improved cassava varieties have been released in Nigeria, out of which 6 are biofortified yellow varieties. Weeds are among the major constraints to cassava production, and for cassava farmers to be successful, they must control weeds.
You'll be able to increase your farm size. You'll be healthier in the sense that the drudgery is removed from you. You will be able to meet your basic needs if you have an increase in crop yield. It means that you have extra cash in your pocket to be able to do those things that fall on you when you don't have money. For example, sending your kids to school, to good schools.
Once we only adopt innovations when they are able to see that such innovations are better than their current practices. So that is what we have in terms of knowledge transfer, on-farm demonstration.
The technologies the project is pushing is to ensure that weeds are reduced in cassava fields. And these technologies are working, farmers taking the lead in ensuring that this project is successful.
About 136 demonstration plots for this new technology for weed control have been set up in 4 states of Nigeria.
Here in Abia State, we are using 4 local governments to showcase this technology. Ikuano local government is there, Isukwato local government is there, Arochukwu local government is there, and Bende local government. And right now, in this farmer managed stage, we have not less than 32 locations here in Abia State, within these 4 local governments as well.
Like in our states, we are in 5 local governments on this project. This is a new technology. The role of ADP basically is an extension arm to disseminate new, innovative and agricultural farmers who receive new technology like this. We go to the field, gather the farmers together. As you know, the farms being demonstrated. That's the whole role. So we demonstrate for them, we educate them, we use this kind of herbicide there, we use this here. Then their own farm, the way they practice their own, ask them to do it. At the end of the demonstrations, when we now compare the yield.
The project is conceived in such a way that it's not just about the research, but actually research for development. And in this context, we are looking at how do we transfer the knowledge from the research to farmers. The idea is to actually create impact on farm level. So what we are doing is to try to understand what are the current knowledge that farmers actually have in terms of weed control. Within that, and what are the current practices, and how do we leverage on the current knowledge in order to disseminate some of the research findings that we have on the project.